Good evening, welcome to ITV News. This is Friday night's calendar.
Hello there, here are tonight's main stories.
Chaos on our roads. We have a special report on the reckless riders bringing misery to communities across Yorkshire and how the police are often powerless to act.
These people riding the bikes know that the police can't chase them unless it's the off-road bike team. And so they're using that to their advantage and not wearing helmets.
Digging deep, we join the history hunters on a business development where they've unearthed this Iron Age settlement dating back thousands of years.
A civil war is breaking out here at Hillsborough as the owner Deshfon Chansiri threatens to pull his funding if fans continue to protest against him.
And true love conquered all as staff helped Roland and Jackie finally tie the knot in a surprise ceremony at this Leeds care home.
Hello, thank you very much for joining us. Now, first tonight to what's a growing and worrying problem for communities right across the Calendar region. And yet most regular police patrols are virtually powerless to act.
Yes, we're talking about the antisocial use of motorbikes and quad bikes, with reckless riders often flouting the law right in the face of officers, knowing they can't pursue them unless they're specifically trained to do so.
Well, Helen Steele's been looking into the issue and joins us now from one part of Leeds that's been bearing the brunt. Good evening, Helen. What's the situation there then?
Well, to see the scale of the problem, look no further than this. This is South Leeds Golf Club. It was the oldest in Leeds, but now it's closed due to the damage caused by quad bikes. But it's an issue faced by the entire region. We've been looking at the figures, and over in South Yorkshire, they have more than 2,000 complaints every month. Over in Derbyshire, out of 2,000 complaints in the past 6 months, they were only able to pursue 2 bikes. Now that gives you an idea of some of the scale of the problem faced by police, and that's what we've been taking a look at. A police car in Leeds pulls up alongside a biker. His reaction, this.
Why are they not doing it? They can't do now.
He knows this police officer can't pursue him. Wearing no helmet, the risk is deemed too high. And it's this reckless attitude that those living here in nearby Middleton say is wreaking havoc on their lives. Wayne Dixon's been collecting evidence. He says those responsible are now targeting him.
Quite scary at times, like my wife's been followed a couple of times by quads shouting at her. These people riding the bikes know that the police can't chase them unless it's the off-road bike team. And so they're using that to their advantage and not wearing helmets.
We have to act in the confines of the law.
Wayne regularly holds meetings about bikes, and officers here don't shy away from their own restrictions.
The longer we're behind them, the more risk they take, the more footpaths they go down at higher speeds.
But they're not just blighting the streets, they're wrecking sports facilities too.
I mean, this is an example of, what the quad bikes can do.
This pitch set England's Millie Bright on her path to stardom, now a racetrack for bikers. This footage captured during a new training session to attract more girls to the sport.
It only takes one accident, doesn't it? We don't want to see that. We don't want anybody getting injured. We don't want anybody getting hurt. Whether it's the kids or the kids on the bike.
It's really annoying. It's ruining everyone's chances of being able to play football because all the pitches are being ruined.
So this is one of the videos we've been sent. Is that what you've been seeing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what an idiot.
Police officers' restrictions in pursuing bikes is an issue well known to the Deputy Police Mayor.
They've got to have the right training. They've got to be in the right vehicle. Very complex. And we don't want young people who are on a motorbike, even though that is very annoying and maybe even dangerous. We don't want them dying because we've decided to pursue when all the conditions were not right.
Good morning, everybody. This is our briefing for Operation Heelfield today.
Here in Calderdale, a few months back, they had no officers trained to pursue.
Just arriving on Ovenden Green at the moment, where we've had this report of a couple of off-road motorcycles.
Now a police operation aims to change all that. Now, officers here have received almost 300 calls regarding antisocial behaviour and bikes in the last month. Now, they're determined to do everything they can about it. They're already using this drone but they've also received £75,000 of funding. Now that's gone towards things like this, which is forensic marker solution and can be sprayed on riders as they pass. And they've also invested in training more drivers on bikes like these. Those can pursue riders and ultimately catch them in the act.
A few months back, this biker would have made his escape on this track, but not anymore.
We've arrested nearly 100 extra people from the deployment. We've recovered 100 vehicles that are stolen using antisocial behaviour, and almost 300 tickets have been issued in relation to roads policing issues.
It's by no means a total fix.
We confirm there's a bike in the rear.
But police hope this operation will be rolled out, making more off-road bikers think twice about keeping them.
Footage there. Well, 2 teenagers have died and a third is in a critical condition in hospital after a car crash in Leeds overnight. It happened on the ring road in Meanwood at 3:30 this morning when the vehicle they were travelling in hit a telegraph pole. An 18-year-old man and 19-year-old woman died at the scene. Another 18-year-old man is still in hospital. A 22-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of causing death by dangerous driving. And you can follow any developments on this story and the rest of the day's news from around the region on our website, itv.com/calendar.
Now then, to the building site for a business park that's turned into a site of, well, historical interest after archaeologists unearthed an Iron Age and Roman settlement dating back some thousands of years.
Yes, excavation work had been carried out as part of the planning process for the development near Newark, and experts found a complex patchwork of over 12 kilometres of ditches, which they've spent 4 months now mapping. Emma Wilkinson has more.
For hundreds of years, people have walked across this land with no idea of the story that lay beneath their feet. A story that has only been unearthed because archaeologists were brought in to analyse this site as part of the planning process to extend this business park. As soon as digging started, it was clear to Kat and her team there was a lot to do.
What makes this site significant is just the sheer amount of archaeology that we have, the sheer amount of farming-related occupancy on this site. No one has seen this in the last 2,000 years, so we're the first ones to excavate these ditches, to find the pottery that's in them. We're the first ones in 2,000 years to see these wells.
It's often the discovery of high status items, those related to the elite that make the headlines. But this site paints a picture of ordinary life, the life of country folk over hundreds of years. And for the archaeologists here, that is just as fascinating.
Simon, who works for the company brought in to assess the heritage here, says mapping it has been no easy task.
Every one of these blue lines is surveyed around a ditch that was dug by farmers on this site over the best part of 600 years. And obviously the trick for Kat and her team, what they've spent the last few months doing, is unpicking this, so a bit like trying to phase a bowl of spaghetti.
But while all of this may increase understanding of life here 2,000 years ago, what worries some local people is how their life will be affected by the £30 million development.
We're concerned about how the encroachment of these types of warehouses are going to impact the village, both on the local walking, but also the infill of potential housing, and also noise and traffic.
The company behind the project says it will bring more than 500 jobs to the area and will be sensitive to its surroundings. In terms of the archaeology, a number of items have been collected and taken away, but it's the knowledge that's been taken away that's really important to the team here.
So we literally dismantle the fabric of the sites, and in so doing that, we learn the significance of them.
And with excavations here almost complete, the process of building the next phase in the history of this site will soon begin. Emma Wilkinson, ITV News, Newark.
It's really interesting,
I
isn't
know,
it?
all of that found under what's essentially a building site. Amazing stuff. You're watching Calendar with Lara Rostron and Michael Billington. Thanks for being with us. Still to come on the programme this evening. Bottoms up, we head off to the vineyards of North Yorkshire to find out why its wines are going from strength to strength.
And despite a few Pennine showers across the region today, plenty of blue sky from west to east. More of your photos and of course the forecast for the weekend a little later on.
Kerry, thank you very much. Now to another acrimonious battle between football fans and club owners. Yesterday, you may remember, we told you how the man in charge of Scunthorpe United had pulled his funding. Well, today, Sheffield Wednesday's owner has threatened to do the same thing.
Yes, that's right. Deshfon Chansiri released a lengthy statement where he said he'll stop putting money into the club if he continues to be, in his words, treated unfairly by fans.
Well, Arif Ahmed is outside Hillsborough for us this evening. Good evening, Arif. This is all turning quite toxic, really, isn't it? What's the fans' reaction to what's going on?
Yeah, evening, Lara. Well, fans have really been angry and quite confused at this near 1,500-word statement that was released by owner Deshfon Chansiri this morning. We can speak to one fan now. Ben, good to see you. Thanks for joining us on Calendar. What do you make of this statement and this quite almost like a threat from the owner Deshfon Chansiri?
Yeah, frankly, I think it's a car crash of a statement. I think the timing's atrocious, and some of the claims that Mr Chansiri makes in it have absolutely dumbfound me, to be honest. I think it seems like Mr Chansiri's now stopped acting like a football owner and is now acting like a petulant, spoilt child that just seems to want to take his ball home with him because he's hurt his feelings.
And, you know, he's upset about the protests that have been going on. Fans disrupted the game last week. What do you make of that?
I think it's come a time now where we have to find a way of protesting. He said that he doesn't see the point in it, and perhaps that's his stubbornness, but I think we have to do something now to try and force him out of the club in whatever way we can, as long as it's sort of not directly personal to him. I don't see anything wrong with it.
And where does this end? Can there be a resolution here?
I think it's gone too far for there to be a resolution where he stays at the club. The only problem with that is that he owns the club, he owns the ground, and we've seen what happened with Scunthorpe just yesterday, that he has the power to be able to do that to us, and he seems to have took this point in time where he's maybe seen the Scunthorpe statement and say, yeah, I want a piece of that. So yeah, that's a bit worrying.
Ben, thank you very much for joining us as well. It looks like this fractured relationship isn't going to heal anytime soon.
Well, Arif, Ben mentioned Scunthorpe there. Any update on what's happening at Glanford Park?
Yeah, there is, Michael. The Scunthorpe United fans have set up a GoFundMe page for staff who, we understand, have not received their monthly pay packet today. Now, you remember yesterday that owner David Hilton announced he would cease funding the club and plans to relocate them to Gainsborough. Now, within 3 hours of that page going live, it reached its £10,000 target. Now, we'll stay with non-league, but some happier news now. Now, the village of Emley is known for its mast, isn't it? Not known for its sport, is it? But its football team has the chance of creating some history this weekend. Now, they're the lowest ranked team left in this year's FA Cup. They go to Alfreton Town this weekend. Now, if they can beat them, they've got the chance of being just one game away from playing in the FA Cup proper. For once, it's Emley's football team rather than its famous mast in the spotlight. Red lights in the distance are the only sign of the village's famous landmark. But now it's up to the players to shine bright in the country's oldest cup competition. Emley, who play in the 9th tier of English football, are the lowest ranked team left in this season's FA Cup. They're looking to cause a shock when they take on Alfreton Town on Saturday, a team that plays 3 leagues above them.
It's every footballer's dream to play in an FA Cup final. You know, our generation all grew up watching it on a Saturday in May at 3 o'clock, and you know, that's really what we're all aspiring to do. You know, people lift the game for the FA Cup, and hopefully we can do that on Saturday.
Emley's greatest day in the FA Cup came 25 years ago when they played Premier League side West Ham United. Over 2,000 fans and an inflatable mast followed them down to the capital for their third-round tie. Assistant manager Steve Nicholson played in that game and hopes to see the current side create new memories for the club.
I remember it like it's yesterday. It was absolutely fantastic. The team are remembered to this day that played against West Ham in the third round. It's something that the lads, we've mentioned it, it's something where they can put their name in lights, for want of a word. It's an opportunity for them where they've never played before at this round. So this is something that they probably aspire to from being young kids watching the FA Cup on the TV, and this is their opportunity to shine.
Midfielder Joe Clegg is a rarity in the Emley squad. He grew up watching the team play from his bedroom window and is the first player in over 30 years to play for the club who comes from the village. How did it feel to play for them?
It's a great feeling. I feel the buzz around the village. Everyone's buzzing. Like I walked at local shop and everyone will ask me questions and stuff, saying, "How are you going on? How are you doing?" So yeah, it's great to play for the club. I know they've gone quite far before, and that were a massive thing. People still talk about that today. So if we actually get to the first round proper, then it'd be a massive achievement.
The club have always been playing in the shadows of the village's iconic mast. Now this is their chance to stand as tall as the Emily Tower. Well, good luck to Emily, who are in action tomorrow, and to Sheffield Wednesday, who play Sunderland here tonight. And that's all your sport from me.
OK, Arif at Hillsborough, thank you.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
It's almost tea time, isn't it? Now, we all know in Yorkshire that we're pretty famous for our tea, that's why I mentioned it, but not so much our Tempranillo. But that could all be about to change.
Yes, new research shows that wine sales from God's own county are booming, and across England we're now making over 12 million bottles a year.
So could it soon be a case of sour grapes for the vineyards of Bordeaux and Tuscany as wine lovers shop closer to home? Catherine Walker got the best job of the day, heading to North Yorkshire to find out.
Rows of lush vines are cropping up across the English countryside. Winemaking is now the fastest growing sector in British farming. And at this bar in Sheffield, customers say they enjoy trying their local vino.
I love English wine, yes. I do drink in the summertime an English rosé. I shan't say where I buy it from, but it's absolutely delicious.
I think it's good to support local businesses. And the number of good vineyards that England has won lots of awards for English wine, particularly for sparkling.
Jack has been a vineyard manager for 7 years. He says advances in science have helped the industry take root in North Yorkshire.
I think a lot of it is down to new technologies coming onto the market, particularly focused on grapevines themselves, new rootstocks, new varieties, and there's a great big push now for finding cooler climates to produce wines that are certainly far more trendy now. We're talking dry, fruity wines.
Buying local and sustainable, the carbon footprint is so low because it literally is from the vine to here and out to the customer. There's very little mileage in it. And we're seeing more and more people interested in English wines.
So is it time to shop locally for our wine?
So we're going to have a little taste of the English sparkling.
Alex is a wine tasting expert, and he's kindly offered to teach me all about English wine.
So what kind of wine is England best known for?
So at the moment, our most popular style of wine is definitely English sparkling. It makes up for about 2/3 of the wine production in the UK. We've won numerous awards, often beating champagne, so we're really coming on leaps and bounds currently.
A quick taste test, and it was a thumbs up from me.
You know what, that's my first English sparkling, and that's really nice.
It's nice, it's fresh, it's fruity. It has this really fantastic kind of bright apple flavour coming through. It's a really indicative flavour of England, I think.
So, if you're after a glass of wine to kick off the weekend, why not try something made a little closer to home? Catherine Walker, ITV News.
Really feel like we have the weather to grow wine.
It certainly doesn't. Where are the samples? That's what I want to know.
I'm thirsty now.
Are you?
It is Friday.
I forgot the climate though. I mean, is the weather good enough here?
Well, they were saying though, weren't they, that I think it needs a temperate climate, and obviously we've got a cooler climate than abroad, but it is becoming warmer and we're having fewer frosts, so that's probably got something to do with it as well. It might be a chilly night tonight, but this month, I mean, of course, tomorrow is the last day of September, another really warm month. Been looking at the stats so far, of course, I'll be able to firm up on them after the weekend when we've got to the very end of the month, but it is one, if not the, and for some counties it will be the warmest September on record. It has been wetter than average, an average amount of sunshine, but this is the gobsmacker. September for many parts of the region has been warmer than July and August, and if that happens, it will be the first time since 1890, and 1890 was not warm, it was a very cold summer, so it's been an exceptional September. And I know loads of people are like, well, I've had to put my coat on now, but really actually for the end of September it's still incredibly warm, and it's our nights and our days that have been average or just above. So not, of course we had the heat wave at the beginning of the month, but even the last few weeks it's just been just above average. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how October plays out. But we've had some nice photos this week.
Go on, show us
We
your
started
photos.
off with the storm, didn't we? And it was a bit miserable to begin, but this was Saltwick, which is in the North Yorkshire coastline. A big thank you to Brian Callery. I couldn't decide which one, so I'm showing you this one and this one of a double rainbow. But today it was a warm breeze. You've all been saying it's been really warm. This was Knaresborough earlier on. A big thank you to Machiko Smith. A little bit of cloud over the Pennines, but not spoiling things too much. And this was Derwent Dam. And before we go, I just wanted to show you this, a very big sunflower.
Oh.
It was absolutely massive, 6'8". A big thank you to Joan and Barry from Brighouse for that one. There you go, it's Friday.
That is Barry, isn't it?
It is Barry,
Yeah,
and
I
a
love
very
that.
big sun.
Thank you.
Now, every day, without fail, a 92-year-old ex-serviceman turns up at a care home in Leeds to take his 76-year-old fiancée for a walk. Well, we say fiancée, but thanks to the thoughtfulness of care home staff, they're now calling each other husband and wife.
And this is why.
All these people here for your jacket.
When 92-year-old Roland Waring was told to put on his best suit for a meeting, he had no idea that his 76-year-old fiancée would be arriving in a gown.
They brought me up here, and it was all decorated out, and all my family was there, and friends, and my granddaughters and grandsons, and a lot of other people. And I was in a daze for the first 20 minutes.
The couple have been engaged since 2019, but their plans were scuppered by the pandemic. So staff took matters into their own hands, arranging a surprise wedding blessing for Jackie, who has dementia, and Roland, who has terminal cancer.
What do you think of Jackie in her gown?
She looked lovely. She did, honestly.
Oh dear.
Even though she does play hell with me at times.
Their love for each other kept growing and growing as they spent more time together.
The idea came from care home manager Lucy.
We had our hairdressers here in the morning who helped Jackie to have a nice hair. We done Jackie's makeup. We had a wedding dress, what did Jackie like? And when we put the wedding dress on, Jackie actually started crying and said how beautiful she looked like. So that's when we knew she obviously wanted to go ahead, because we obviously knew the risk. If Jackie doesn't feel up for it in the morning, we wouldn't be able to go ahead.
Jackie and Roland, you have committed yourselves today to each other.
So how's married life been so far then, Roland?
Well, it's all right, actually. Because she stays here and I go home.
Who didn't say that?
Tell you the truth, I feel awkward.
Why's that?
You never know, some of my old girlfriends could be watching it.
And get jealous?
Yeah, well, they're bound to get jealous.
The ceremony created happy memories for everyone at the care home, who danced the day away in celebration. But none were happier than Roland and Jackie, who proved it's never too late for love. Adam Fowler, ITV News, Leeds.
Oh, congratulations to the happy couple.
He might have some old girlfriends watching tonight, but
Yeah.
it was Jackie that stole his heart in the
He's
end.
a bit of a catch, is Roland. Here's Kerry with the weather.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, hello again. Today ended up being one of the better days of the working week, and a big thank you to Guy Roberts, who was one of 12 winners in the Kirkdeaton Calendar 2024 photography competition, and his beautiful image here will be October 2024. But of course tomorrow, the last day of September, so this weekend we enter October 2023. It's a bright start to the weekend. We'll see some sunshine, but we have got a wet and windy spell in the middle before a slow improvement from the north on Sunday. So we start off with high pressure, but then low pressure around over the coming few days, so definitely a mixture with some wet and windy spells, but high pressure is likely to return from the south by midweek next week, settling things down hopefully once more. So as we head through into this evening and overnight tonight, very similar to today, chance of an odd shower, but most of us will be dry and clear with relatively light winds, which will allow for two things: the temperatures to dip, so it's a cooler night tonight down into single figures, and maybe some morning mist and fog developing as we head towards tomorrow morning. So a better night tonight to see that almost full supermoon above the region, 7:05 and 6:46 are your sun times. So tomorrow morning will be the best part of the weekend, probably some morning mist and fog, a lovely dose of sunshine, but then from lunchtime onwards we'll see more cloud around, and as the day progresses, a slightly higher risk of catching a showery outbreak of rain. But it's not really until the evening and overnight period that we see this area push its way in, so there will be a wet and windy spell at least for a time, and then hopefully that front will sink its way southwards during Sunday. So an improving story to sunshine and showers. Still the risk of sunshine and showers Monday and Tuesday. It's a warm weekend and still above the average into next week.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go, that's your weekend forecast, whatever you're up to.
We're going to see some of those autumn colours quite soon, aren't we?
Oh, yeah,
Look forward to it.
Loads of conkers on the ground at the moment as well.
Yeah,
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Right, that's it from us. I'll be back just before 11. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.